I've said this before. After a certain age, we got to get y'all off social media. Antoine-ish, whatever your last name is, you're close to 50, and it's time for you to go ahead and hop off social media, big dog.
No. I like him on there. Like, this is becoming must-see TV.
Well, no, he can stay on the pod. He need to delete his socials.
Oh, wait. Did he do something crazy on socials this week?
Oh, he be going off on people.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you guys started sending it to me. I didn't know issues like that.
Oh, yeah, it's emotional. So those who not know, Ish and Dr. Marc Lamont Hill. So Marc Lamont Hill joined the show maybe, I don't know, the top of this year.
Yeah.
The greatest addition to a podcast I've ever seen.
Really good.
Really, really good. This is up there with them bringing the Breakfast Club together with Angela Yee, Charlamagne, and DJ. This is up there. Yeah, this is up there with like, all right, you bring these people together. This is one of the most amazing things. This is up there with Skip and Shannon. I mean, Skip and Shannon and Skip and Stephen A. Them coming together. Yep. This is one of the greatest pairings I've ever seen for TV. However, I think the consensus before the pod was, before Marc Lamont Hill got up there was.
And we're talking about the Joe Budden podcast for anybody that's catching up.
Thank you. Because Mike know I be just talking. The consensus was that Ish and Mel were the two smartest people up there. If you asked either side of the community.
Yeah.
I had Ish and Joe, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I had Mel at a strong third. Since Mark has got up there, he showed us what real intelligence looks like. And no offense to anybody that's on there.
Yeah.
And since then, Mark and Ish have been arguing. Now, I will say this before I continue. That is on Joe. Joe, this past week, they were having a conversation. And everybody every week has been giving Joe a little bit of, hey, you keep throwing in our face that Mark is killing it and is getting on everybody's nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
So the point was Mark was supposed to come on and everybody on the show would get one episode off a month.
Yeah.
That was the point of Mark coming. When Mark got there, that whole plan went out the window. And Joe said he makes y'all better.
Yeah.
And I kind of get that. It's like, yo, we got somebody here. He's encouraging higher level conversations. He's checking people. And it's kind of like, I don't think any of them thought that it would take this long for Mark to be this good.
It'll be that quickly.
Yeah. Because he's been smoking it. And mind you, they do Potter of the Month every month.
Yeah.
Mark has gotten it twice. And we only in the 5th month of this year. You know what I'm saying? And I think this month, he's in the lead for a 3-peat.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, bro, like you smoking this shit too much. So him and Ish have been getting in the conversation. They've been arguing.
Yes.
A lot. And I think it's time to get Ish off of there because on Patreon yesterday, Ish was getting upset because Mark was like, hey, the community is criticizing you. And he was like, no, they're getting personal. And which got me to thinking is when somebody is a celebrity, Antoine is a celebrity, there's different levels.
Yep.
Is there stuff that's off? Should they expect some things to be off limit with them?
I mean, here's the thing: like the comment section, going comment section. Now, I always allow the comment section. You can get off anything personal, right? Mm-hmm. But when you start getting into doxing or the kids, that's when I'm gonna hire somebody to find out where you at, right? But short of that, you can kind of get it off. Yeah. So it's like I like if you go into the comment section, you go at your own risk, right? Yeah. One of the things from a guy that, we really don't like, but he said something one time and it made so much sense. He said, my job is to create content. Mm-hmm. Your job is to leave comments. Like that's the job. That's the role. Like if you get that, everything is actually going well. So I don't think there's anything off limits when it's about what someone is saying, pronouncing a word. Like, I know I'm here, I'll mispronounce a word. So it's like, take the shot. Because it's like sometimes it's great feedback. You know what I'm saying? Like even though it's a shot and it might sting, it's like, yo, it's great feedback, right? But if you start being like, yo, you got Black Dads Club and you're a shitty dad, right? And I know you're a shitty dad and yada yada yada. Okay, now I gotta look for you. Yeah. So I think it's off limits when you start getting to that level, right? Like you're doing this to your wife, or you're like when you get personal like that, I think that's off limits. Yeah, you know what? Something you should probably live by. Ice says it's in his bio on Twitter. Yeah, you get one shot to be disrespectful, make it count. Because he blocked you right after that. And I'm not against blocking. Like I said, if whenever But here, it's only 2 people I block on the internet. It's only 2. Okay. I block misandrous.
Oh, shout out to them.
And bigots.
Shout out to them.
Because it's like you're unreasonable, and I'm not going back and forth with Facts. You, right?
Facts.
Everybody else, I can really go back and forth a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Unless, again, you try to dox me, because then, like, all right, now I got to find you. Yeah. Because I will hop on a plane. I am that guy.
Oh, gosh. And so, well, the funny part of it is, so I do believe in certain things that's off limit. I believe kids is off limit because there's no point.
Yeah.
You get nothing besides, let me put it like this. There's a nigga out there who, if you sleep with his girl, she could be ugly. You sleep with his girl, he's willing to kill you for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's another nigga out there who you sleep with his girl, he just gonna break up with her, go about his day. You don't want to run into the dude that's willing to kill you for his girl.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I get off on, I'm gonna stand by whatever I say, but I'm not gonna go to a point where I know that, all right, I can't be mad at how you react. Because I didn't have somebody, not about my kid. I remember when somebody said something about my nephew one time when he was a baby, and they were literally under my comments because they thought it was my kid.
Yeah.
And I think it was on my photography podcast.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we talking about photography over here. Well, how the hell you getting over here on my family? And you know what I realized? It was a middle schooler. Who was just, and I was just like, I found out what school he went to. You know what I'm saying? But I was just like, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? But it angered me so much. And I remember thinking like, I can't get this anger again.
Yeah. No, I like that. You get one time to be disrespectful. And make it count.
Please make it count.
Make it count.
Shout out to Ice for that. But also, I need Ish to understand is, they criticizing you, dog. Ish should get off a lot of.
Well, he's emotional now.
Here's
that. He was emotional before, but he was able to outbox and outmaneuver everybody else on the pod. Yes. Mark corners him.
Yeah.
And Ish don't know how to get out of the corner.
And I feel bad because there was the JBP community, we have our rankings. And so there's an intelligence rankings.
Yeah.
There's also a sensitive ranking.
Yeah.
Mel and Ish was fighting for that ranking like 2 months ago. They was fighting. And it seems like Mel didn't drop down like 3 spots, bro.
Well, because I think she's enjoying the fight, right? She don't have to get into it. Well, and Mark panders a little bit to women.
Yeah, but it's not even that. It is that, but it's also she don't engage. That's another reason why she get the.
Well, that goes into like her intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the things about. So when someone obviously knows more than you, because it might not be intelligence between Mark and Ish, it really could just be smarts. Because like intelligence and smarts is 2 different things. Like smarts is like how much information you've retained. Intelligence is problem solving, right? So Marc Lamont obviously have more knowledge.
Yes.
So Mark corners, and Ish could very easily slip these punches by just asking Mark questions and letting Mark corner himself instead of him trying. He can't corner Mark. Mark knows more information. So you have to ask questions to let Mark corner himself. So when it gets clipped and Mark is off just a little bit, like, because that's what the internet waits for it, bro.
They wait for that one slip.
They wait for it. And then they will be on his ass. And then he'll have to see how it feels to have the comment section against you for, a time. Yeah.
And then I told y'all last night, I was like, the problem is, a lot of us go to barbershops and we hear dumb conversations. We sound like we're the smartest in there.
Yeah.
And I done heard some crazy things in it. I tell everybody, I remember being in the barbershop and they were having a debate on who was a better basketball player, Michael Jordan or Carmelo Anthony. And it was a deep conversation for no reason.
Yeah, I would have walked out.
He was finishing up and I was like, I have to go.
I gotta get out of here.
I've heard that conversation, right? So like, I think Ish goes into a lot of barbershops.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually talking about actual barbershops, but barbershop atmospheres.
Yeah.
And he comes off very intelligent, right? But then Mark, who's been on TV debating other people who are smart, because they're super educated, they've been having these arguments. And so he just knows how to debate better and he knows more. Like when Mark and Ish was going back about a word, and Mark said, I just wrote a book that was published on this a week ago, and Ish realized he didn't know the definition of that word.
And again, that's pride, right? Because a lot of what Ish... I'm tell you the best thing that gets on people's nerves whenever you debate is that when they're right about something, to be like, oh man, I was wrong. You're right.
Oh
it kills it.
It kills it. Yeah.
That's all you got to do is be like, oh my bad, you right about that.
Yeah. Now I don't like people going to find his kids, his wife. No.
And again, that's too far.
Yeah, but
that's too far. Like,
and that's a certain part of it. internet that we just don't agree with.
Yep.
And Ish, I'm gonna tell you this: that whole reparation conversation.
Oh, Ish has some terrible takes.
Oh, he has.
But I mean, we have terrible takes. Well, I'll speak for myself. Yeah, I have terrible takes.
That is true. You do.
Fuck you.
The worst take I've ever heard Ish say. Ish, this is the worst take of all time. Two bad takes that piss me off. Ranking number 3 is the reparations. Black people don't need financial reparations because they don't have financial literacy.
Yeah.
That was disgusting.
Yeah.
Because if you give me equity-ish, I'm just going to sell it to the first buyer, especially if I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We'll let that rock-ish. Number 2 was that Tyler's water was bigger than LMA Boo. That is false by a long shot.
That's provable. He can Google that.
He didn't.
Yeah.
He said it.
I prefer both of them. I like both of them. Never mind.
But Boot Up had.
Yeah, Boot Up.
If you had a girl when Boot Up came on.
If you did not have a girl, you was like,
I need
steal
one.
my shit.
Steal my shit. There's certain songs that women make that men just fall in love with, and now it's our song. Yeah. We the Birds then.
Exactly.
And Boot Up was one of those songs. His number one for me was when he told, Joe Budden said he don't understand how Drake didn't have a response to Meet the Grams. And it said, yeah, I don't know because I heard this 2 months ago. That was in fact just a lie. And it was a bad lie because I think what they proved was the beef didn't even start yet. So how you heard a full diss song, how you hear it and Drake didn't hear it.
Yeah.
And so it was just one of them things where it's like, bro, you ain't have to tell that lie. And it was a bad take. But anyway, Ish is still my guy. You still, my favorite Potter probably still is still Ish, actually.
I mean, like,
Ish, Joe,
you know,
Ice.
look, I'm about to say, I listen to Joe. I don't listen to it a lot. The most part I actually listen to, actually like Sean Ryan, which is like a military special forces type pod with guys are like retelling stories. But Joe Budden is probably in my top 5. And my favorite Potter on the Joe Budden podcast is actually Joe Budden. It still is. Like, I have a lot of issues from Marc Lamont Hill from MSNBC days, and I haven't let that go yet.
Or when he was, he had Ebony back when she didn't want the bus driver.
Yeah. Like, it's a lot of takes to Marc Lamont. Like, I'd like to be on the pod because I'm gonna let you corner yourself.
Yeah, look,
I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna just
be in the back with Savon and them, or whoever run Tanner, whoever run them cameras in the back. I just want to see what camera y'all got. GZ, send her the cars, bro.
Yeah, whatever it is that the judge already said that you need to do, go ahead and send that dude. Hey, look, man, look. I think what's the old Willie Nelson? Willie Nelson said it best. He said, "Do you know why divorce is expensive?" He said, because it's worth it.